Wilds of Eldraine is just around the corner. It releases September 8th of 2023. But can players possibly get the same experience they had in 2019 when they first went to Eldraine? There's a lot to unpack in our conversation today about the old set as well as the new set and some financial stuff I think players need to know about. After almost 3.5 years, we are finally going back to Eldraine, and this set has the name behind it. It has a nostalgic feel. It has things that players are looking forward to, and they're not even sure why yet. Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here. Thanks again for hanging out with me on my channel today. Most players who you speak to and talk about Throne of Eldraine, they just have nothing bad to say. Nothing. I talked to Minimox, my little kid, and of course, he was around playing Magic at that point, and all he still talks about is Ginger Brute. That unblockable little guy, and he just tried to pump that thing up as much as he could with auras and enchantments and go after people. He loved the set, and so did most of the players out there. They like the storybook art frames. They love the idea and how the set was put together, the idea that there's wild areas of the place, and now we're going to the Wilds of Eldraine. You see how this all kind of interconnects? When Wizards has a good mass appeal of a nostalgic project idea, something like Eldraine is going to go over well because we liked it. We liked the storybook art frames. But what most players forget is Throne of Eldraine also pushed the limits of what Wizards of the Coast could do. Never forget that. Expect a little bit of spice with this set because this is the set that first had collector boxes. This is the set that gave us the super special gift editions. Remember these? Remember those suckers, man? With the big die and the collector pack inside? First time. It's a first time moment. And that moment has players excited. You don't have to do anything, and you've already got people excited. That bodes very well, but Wizards of the Coast is not going to rest on their laurels on a set like this. They are going to test the limits again, and they did it in Throne of Eldraine. Most players forget that. It wasn't just a fancy box like that. It wasn't just the first time we got collector boxes. Remember those? First time collector boxes. But it is also the first time they really pushed the limits and had a lot of bannings. The last time I remember this stuff, seeing this kind of banning idea behind it, was when we saw stuff from the Urza block, when this many cards were just pushing the power limit. That's what it felt like in Eldraine. And it gave us such a questing beast. Come on, do I need to say more? A 4/4 for like a 4/4 trample haste that can hit planeswalkers automatically. The thing was crazy. But you also gave us Oko, right? Thief of Crowns or whatever, got banned once upon a time. Banned in multiple formats. These cards changed the landscape. How about, was it Gilded Goose as well? The Golden Goose? Crazy stuff, guys, to see these fairy tale things come in, and they really did play well. Players were excited. We also spent a lot of money on this set and also got a lot of printings. Most people don't realize that Throne had a lot of printings, like 4 or 5 printings on that set, and they actually were clearing it out of stock by around 2020, 2021. They just had so much in the warehouses, they had to clear this stuff out. Never forget that. Wizards of the Coast will be planning for this. There's going to be a lot of it around. They know this is going to be a well thought of set. Now, the other parts of this are, in Wilds of Eldraine, what will we see kind of rehashed and reprinted? What are the ideas we're going to see? Now, they pushed the limits before when they gave us Questing Beast, Once Upon a Time, Oko. And they pushed those limits. They may actually try to push it again. They may know players are looking forward to that kind of power thing. Even though things might get banned, the idea we can play with it for a while, have a good time, try some crazy stuff, it really appealed to a lot of the players out there. And had a lot of us old fogies going, this card is crazy. This is a Sarah Angel. They can't stand. We get it. Time marches on, and these crazy new cards are well loved. Even if they're not worth a lot of money, a lot of these cards did not hold up well in the secondary market, okay? So don't expect this kind of standard rotation set to have cards that are really going to carry forward. Wizards is managing things like Great Henge into specialty sets, like, you know, they gave us the Party Tree. They're gonna massage that value as long as they can for some of these cards. But things like Questing Beast being only a couple of bucks, if they reprint it, it's going to go up in value again because it's back in standard rotation. They can do things like that that could spike up cards. So don't be surprised if you see a little speculation around this time with players wondering what's going to happen in the next few weeks. And of course, because it's fairies, because we have the Fae, you're going to be working, and not White Wolf Fae. I know some of you guys will get that reference. Not White Wolf Fae, not Red Cap, but we're talking about fairies. Because of those fairies, they will connect with some of the cards that are reserve list. We're talking Fairy Noble, and we're talking Willow Priestess. The more times they give us more fairies, Fairy Tribal comes around, and cards that can put fairies directly into play, put legendary creatures directly into play. And if they give us bigger fairies that are like crazy stuff, not Rankle like 3/3, but fairy formation cards like that you could just tap and put out, giving us a 9/9 dragon, fairy, noble, legendary. You see what I'm saying? Like with these card combos they've given us, they can be pushing the limits that make those cards go off. When a card goes off on the reserve list, it could spike up, and that can cause secondary value movement that nobody anticipates. I like to kind of speculate on that stuff and say it could happen. So if you want to buy a card for $4 and head off the pass, spend $1 on a Fairy Noble, go ahead, have at it. Buy yourself 4 near mint ones though. They're from Homelands, they're old. There were plenty supply made though. Get near mint. Okay, if you're gonna speculate, near mint only. Don't go for moderately played and stuff. Condition does matter to a speculator, to a collector later on who might be trying to collect them. So just keep it in mind. You're only going to spend a couple of dollars, not a big deal. But it can happen with sets like Throne of Eldraine because those cards connect. Same as we get Minotaurs, you might get Didgeridoo. We're not expecting any Minotaurs in this set, but you might see Planeswalkers we haven't seen for a while. You might see Oko, Garrick. You could see new Planeswalkers since we know some of these guys have passed. The Return King, he died, right? Like Kenrith is dead. So we might see other new people coming up to try to take that place. Connecting those cards, though. Remember, there was the Glorified Contender, whatever that guy was. He was a 3/3 knight. We know there are knights in Eldraine. They did it before. They've been picking on knights for a while for Knight Tribal. So there'll be more knights that could possibly come along that could connect to other decks. So looking ahead and getting a bit of a curve on this means speculators are going to be looking. Stores may be kind of tempted to pull some supply just in case. Keep all that factoring in your head if you're a person who might want to get into this stuff. Now, when it comes to the actual product line, considering the cards they're giving us in the past, pushing the limits now won't seem out of the ordinary, but the prices have gone up since Eldraine. I bought Eldraine boxes on clearance for $74.99 or $79.99 from Face to Face. 401 never had good deals like that. Either did Harry T. Face to Face had the best deals. They probably had the most stock left over. So I grabbed a whole bunch for the channel at the time. I still have boxes somewhere buried at the bottom. Same as I bought like these were like $33.99 for a while. So I grabbed a whole bunch because they were so cheap it seemed because there was a collector pack inside. So some of these things, were a deal. But now, the way Magic is working, don't expect any cheap prices. And if anything, these boxes now, instead of being like $119, here in Canada at least, I'm not sure about the States yet, you guys can let me know. Some of you guys who are on my lists, you know who you are. If you're on my list, send me your pre-order stuff so I know what it costs. It'd be very helpful when I try to compile all the information together as well as your sales numbers. When we look at this stuff, you have to understand these boxes here in Canada are like $160 now, which means a draft box is almost $200 with tax. It's doubled since 2019 almost. Like 70% higher since 2019. So in 4 years, we're talking like a 16 to 17% increase each and every year. Nobody's income has kept up with that. So expect a little more spice because Wizards will want us to buy. I expect a little bit of spice, a little bit of, not an amazing set, but a little more than what would normally come because the prices have gone up again. Kind of quietly, kind of a little bit on the side, but they're there. I can see it already in the pre-sale numbers. Pre-sale numbers overall are down for this set compared to other sets like Phyrexia because the prices went a little higher in between this set period. I'm not going to talk about Doctor Who yet, by the way. Doctor Who will be a whole other video later because, we've got to talk about the Daleks and stuff and check things out. But with this kind of product coming up, it's time, since it's only like a couple of months away, it's time to start lining yourself up to decide what you want to do as a player, as a buyer, as a person who might want to hold on to a little product. I expect the Commander decks to be kind of generic. Don't expect anything fancy there. They'll probably be pretty cheap. But the set and draft, maybe. But the collector box, maybe something special. Maybe something's going to be in there just because it was the first collector box they did. So they could do some kind of follow-up saying, hey, this is like, and they could bring it around. You know how Wizards likes to be kind of funky with this stuff. But understanding all that will give you a little bit of an edge on how things go because we know what they've done. And since we know what they did and how well it was received and the craziness of it, well, people are going to want to relive those moments again. I know I do. I'm excited for this set, and I don't need to see any of the cards yet. I'm not gonna thumbs down this one. I already know I'm gonna have a good time at pre-releases. I'm gonna have a good time mixing this stuff in and playing with some of the cards. And I am interested to see how they take us into the wilds, because before we were in the city and it was kind of like there's fairies everywhere and stuff, but out there is even crazier. So who knows what monsters, who knows what crazy stuff is waiting in the wilds. I'm kind of excited just for the premise of the idea. The storyline behind it gives us a little more to bite on for a story. Like the old 3-block sets used to give us. For those who didn't know, sets used to go in 3 blocks, okay? 3 sets. The first one was like the introduction, and then they kind of went along. Then it went to 2 blocks, then single standalone sets. But going back to Eldraine, of course, will bring us back to the story. And it took them almost 4 years to go back. And it was a popular set. So I think they're going to play on people's emotional heartstrings a bit for this set. So don't let FOMO bite you. Enjoy the ride, though. When these spoilers start coming along, I will be talking about the ones I think will link up and which ones will go with other sets. We'll hash those things into some videos. But I'm expecting a pretty competent, well put together set that a lot of players are going to enjoy. And I think the pre-releases, draft nights and stuff are just going to be epic times for players. I don't think Wizards is going to mess this up. I think it's going to go off really well. So thanks a lot, guys, for hanging out. And if you made it this far to the end of the video, shout out and thank you. I know some of you guys probably look, but in the backdrop, we are still counting it down, man. 2,950 subs is all we need to get to the 20K party. Now, for those who are watching the video this long, we're going to have a party at 20,000 subscribers. The rules for the 20K party will come out around 19,000 subscribers because it takes time to set these things up and get everything ready for the party. So the prices and everything will come up, all the stuff that's being offered, the raffles, the free stuff, it's all going to be there. I just want you guys to be aware of it. And if you're new to the channel and you're enjoying the content, please make sure you like and subscribe, turn your notification bells on, join the conversation, join us in the fun of being here every day. I upload content every single day. Let's talk, let's have some fun in this because Magic's a great game and I'm just lucky enough to be here to speak with you guys about it. Have an awesome day. Bring a friend to Magic. Wilds of Eldraine. I think it's going to be a wild time. I can't wait. Oh, was that another dad joke? We'll get away with it. Mini Mox isn't here. Have a great one, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Oh, Saturday. Top 10. Interesting stuff. I'll see you guys then. A big shout out and thank you to the fantastic patrons of this channel. Their continued support allows this type of channel to exist with daily uploaded content. Without their support, a channel like mine just couldn't exist nowadays on YouTube. So thanks again to each and every one of the fantastic patrons I have. Thanks again.
Car, thank you for the birthday gift. I really appreciate it, man. You're amazing. Thank you so much.